What's up, everyone? It's Jack Wilds from Zero Rights Media, a little under the weather, but totally here to introduce a podcast that I shot a few weeks back. This podcast is an exploration of the man, the myth, the legend, at M00NPAPI on Farcaster and on Twitter. None other than M00NPAPI, a recent hire at Clanker, but honestly, just one of the most interesting people I've talked to in a while. Just a very unique, fun individual that I had the pleasure of talking to for over 2 hours. Now, I cut this down some. The first part of the conversation will be me, Proxy Studios, and M00NPAPI. And Proxy's going to tell his story of why M00NPAPI got hired at Clanker. And then we're going to go into a little bit of, M00NPAPI's side of that. And we even dive deep into some random questions. It's really a essentially unedited conversation. Not the greatest audio on this one, I'm sorry. It's a different style, but I do hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, I present to you the Who is M00NPAPI episode of Must-Clank. Okay, so hey, this is a different style of pod today. We're just gonna have a conversation today. Today's a little different, but obviously this is a Must-Clank, and I was invited on to a space by M00NPAPI, and he kind of did an interview with me that was nice because I'm the person talking to other people, but it made me think, God, I want to know a lot more about him. So yeah, M00NPAPI, dude, I feel like we got to talk about you a little bit in this space. There's plenty of cool things going on, but tell me about your experience and how you got hooked up with these crazy guys, these clankers, these clank stars.
Sure. So I'll go with how I think, obviously, I think we're talking because we all use Farcaster. I would say that's probably like the common link, right? That's definitely the streets that we met on.
Yep.
So back in 2022, I was helping out a good friend / person that helped me learn. My buddy Austin, he gets grants from the Ethereum Foundation and then gives people dev streams through his program Scaffold ETH or the Biddle Guild. Maybe you guys have seen those names around.
Yep.
And so
talk about OGs.
Part of
those guys are like, that's classic.
So part of my gratitude or whatever has been like, yeah, I'll work the Build Guild booth at ETH Denver this year if you need me to, or whatever. So there was a conference happening down here, BTC Miami, and there was some guy that was trying to run ETH Miami, and he had me do like a little class. And at the time, I had built like a lens starter kit, like how to register like your lens name and like things like that, and like different ways you can pull up like posts and stuff. And at the end of my talk, somebody comes up. They're like, "Hey, my name is Cackles. Do you know about Farcaster?" And I'm like, "No, what is that?" He goes, "Oh, okay, go on Twitter, hit up this guy Dan, and tell him that Cackles hit you up for an invite." And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure, fine, whatever." So I think Dan got back to me like maybe like a day later. And I downloaded it, and I'm like, "Oh, this is interesting." I didn't know it was a wallet or anything like that. I cast it into the Nether forever.
There must have been like 5 users on Farcaster.
I think there was like 100 or 200. It felt like maybe there was more.
That's so insane.
OG.
It was the end of 2022, if I'm not mistaken. It was like November or something like that. So I'm again casting to the Nether for pretty much all the way up until like that year's ETH Denver around this time. So that's 2023 ETH Denver. And I'm like kind of like seeing like some random people like in the crowd saying that they're using Warpcast, but not really. But it was still pretty interesting because like there was like just neat accounts. There was like 100 accounts, and like one of them was Vitalik, and he was writing.
So crazy.
So I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then like not just like it wasn't a one-way street either. Like he was like replying to random people's shit, like you know. So I was just like, okay, this is really cool. Even though you know, at the same time, like with X, and I'm getting the same amount of traction. Like I have like maybe a few hundred followers on X. I have 5 followers on Forecast.
And you're getting the same engagement from both.
yeah, exactly.
That's
right?
cool.
So I was just posting random bullshit, and I think at the time, Borodutch had just unleashed his bots. Our Farcaster admin had just unleashed his bots on the network, and basically, anytime that you posted anything, you'd see a like almost instantly from Warpcast admin or a reply, and like. That sounds like nothing, but to a user who doesn't get any sort of like is missing the main functionality of the app, I don't see that little red bell icon like pop up. So it's that little hit of dopamine, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, this is interesting. Like interesting shit's happening over here. Like, okay.
But didn't you fall off? Didn't you like crash out for a while? Like leave Farcaster?
You OD'd on it?
I
thought
I definitely like,
or maybe you didn't. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought you told me that you had been less active on Farcaster for a while before.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, so like fast forward to like when Degen happens.
Yeah.
Like just a hilarious wealth creation event.
Dude, Degen was insane. Today, just a small note on Degen. Today, a year ago, I had just joined Farcaster. My account was like a week old, and I got a 1 million Degen tip allocation for putting a top hat emoji in my username. And hold on, let me just look at Degen price.
That was like, if I'm not mistaken, that was like 30 grand.
Yeah, well,
because I tipped it out to somebody as well.
Dude, I don't even know how much it was. I could look it up, but like even today, that is $4,200 for like, and I think a bunch of people got that, and so imagine like we all have 30K to distribute, and I use that to bootstrap mints for my hypersub Proxy Studio.
Oh, dude, fuck yeah. Yeah, like, dude, I was able to quit my Web0 job last year because of that.
Bro. That's so crazy.
Today was an interesting day because I remember giving it to my Valentine, or well, who I wanted to be my Valentine on Warpcast.
Who? Who's your Warpcast crush?
Wait up, though. Hold on. First of all, this is juicy. This is how online, I guess we are, that we're Degen tipping to get Valentines. That's awesome.
Bro, I'm gonna find out Moon's crush by looking on Dune Analytics. That's at his tips.
I was on Love on Leverage last year, right around this time.
I know who it is. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could say it, but...
No. We won't say that name.
Yeah, exactly. It's not... But the coolest part was I was like, yo, you can throw your fucking crush fucking $30,000. I mean, come on, bro. Like, that's what a story.
What a story.
Yasik
is so goated. I back that dude forever.
Oh, 100%. The coolest thing is how unassuming he is.
He's
because
so
especially
base.
Like you go to these conferences and like Jesse's like a real person. He's a guy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's a fucking celebrity. He's a fucking rock star, dude. Yeah. He has a posse of people like constantly like around him anywhere he goes.
That's so true.
I mean, he deserves
Jesse is like
Maybe
a very important
like
businessman at a huge company.
It's like fucking like being able to like touch the Dalai Lama. Like it's like it's people just they do it.
Yeah.
But I went to FarCon last year, and I'm at like one of the meetup, like a rooftop party right across the street from the main venue.
Bro,
yeah,
that's wild.
And I'm like looking over. I'm like, oh hey, what's up, buddy? How are you? You're here for Farcaster. He's like, yeah, blah blah blah, whatever. Both of our like badges were like turned around, and I'm like, what's your name? He turns it around. He's like, oh, I'm Yasek, and I'm like, Yo, thank you so much.
You're like, I've never been this excited to meet a Polish man before.
Yeah, man, 100%. And he's just like, dude, he's just there, like, not by himself, but like, you know, no one's really.
Jacek was my favorite phone call after we launched Clanker. Like we were having all these calls. There was this flood of inbound of like people asking to do collabs and partnerships. And Jacek, first of all, like prior to getting on a call, he just intro'd me to like 4 centralized exchanges, to a bunch of VCs in a very like nonchalant way, no pressure, just like, hey, you should talk to these people. All like useful connections that, you know, may or may not come in handy down the road, whatever. Just like very base. And then we got on the phone and he was like, how are you? Like, I know exactly what you're feeling right now. It's been insane, and like everyone wants something from you. And he was like, I just want you to like remind you to, you know, just like trust yourself, your own instincts. Very like generous. And I was like, I love you, dude. You're amazing. Sorry to interrupt.
No, dude, the glaze is.
I glaze Jacek. He's like the only one I'll glaze on FC, bro.
It's totally deserved though. Like, you know, because I mean, anyone can tell you that advice, and it's not like it's not true.
Yep.
But for someone that like just did the fucking thing,
no, and he really got like he knew exactly what we were going through. Yeah, exactly. Because I think Degen was just between like the airdrop and like how he rewarded folks based on the social graph, like collect this NFT and so on and so forth, to like also just like the in-feed tipping. Like, dude, the tipping, it was such an unlock. Yeah, but
that was insane.
Let's fast forward. Tell us how you met Clanker. Degen happens, blah blah. Lots of, you're at like FarCon. I think FarCon happened in May of last year.
So yeah, obviously, you know, that was around the top of Degen those times. And
top for now.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I felt like the market at the time kind of went into like a little bit of a lull.
Little bit of a lull? You mean every Farcaster asset went down like 75 to 100%?
Yeah, no.
All of the users left. It was basically me and my, you know, the thing I hadn't cut off, like hanging out, talking about social.
Yeah. No, so I frankly had like stuck my head in the sand and just played video games for like literally like, I'm not joking, like easy like 5 months, 6 months. Just like I went full fucking Sam Bankman. I just played League. I was terrible at it.
Nice.
And then somebody in a random Discord group chat, like the whole channel had fucking tagged me and they're like, M00NPAPI, where you at? M00NPAPI, where the fuck are you at? And I'm like, oh, dude, I've been here. I've just been eating shit. I'm playing League. Like, there's nothing to fucking trade. And they're like, oh, well, look at this. Look at that. Look at this. And, like, they were starting to talk about Solana and, like, things like that. Yeah. And I think Solana around the time was, like, maybe $40.
Damn.
I bought a bunch of that. I started, like, going out a little bit more and stuff like that and talking to folks. And then, I don't know, man. I kind of started to get my groove back. Like some of these, I'd hit it big on like
his groove back.
Exactly, dude. I'd hit it big on a couple shit coins on Solana. I did well on Popcat with Bowden. On top of Solana already moving up. So like I was like, oh shit, all right, cool. The market's happening. This is happening. Let's get back on Farcaster. Let's talk about this shit. No one's talking about these coins. And I'm like, yo, dude, we're not in a bear market anymore for you people. Shit's happening.
Not like, in Farcaster though. It was like it felt like a bear market. It was crazy.
Of course, that's the dangers of maximalism, people.
Yep.
Right.
On the other hand, we all were building shit.
Yes. No. To be fair, that's the cool part about when things are down on base on Farcaster and stuff like that. That you have people that are ignorant of price on like just as a rule,
oblivious to price. Straight up, like don't talk or think about it. Like, well, ignorant too. Like, yeah.
So yeah, just started I had my groove back and started posting about things and things like that, and then along came Clanker. I see that shit on my feed. I'm like, okay, I've like kind of like almost spoken to Proxy in like a bunch of different ways. Like I'm good friends with Perp on Farcaster, and he's always connected us like a bunch of times. He'd always like just mention, he's like, oh, you got to work on him with this or that, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't really have like, I'm not motivated to work on anything just yet, like stuff like that. So yeah, fucking Clanker came along, and I thought Clanker was hilariously mispriced. I think I made a tweet, sell me all the Clanker you want under $1 and then fuck off.
Under $1? What the fuck?
Yeah. So yeah, I think right before Clanker, Ethernet had like a shining moment. An AI agent on Farcaster. It's making its own casts. It's talking to people. Doing pretty interesting shit. It minted its own stuff.
Yep.
It made a fuck ton of money. Yeah,
it made 175K. It made 175K. Very important, because I have to tell you, like, both Jack and I were just like having a lot of money career pressure in that moment, and we didn't have any funding. I had made 16 ETH last all year for Proxy Studio. The project I was working on with this DAO, Proxy Swap, had made the degen that we got from Degen DAO, from Perp, last all year. But like neither were bringing in money. I was like not only trying to work and just like hire developers, pay them. I did not pay myself. It was just a crazy time where like it really did feel like the market was moving by Farcaster and Base until this guy who I knew through hire, Martin, who's a legend, but like in a different context, dropped this bot. And because Ethernet made so much money, I started being interested. Before that, I kind of hated AI bots. I was like, oh, they're just dumb chat bots.
Really?
And I didn't get it.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like the moment you see the moment you see them like capitalizing on the market and like actually bringing stuff in, then they do become a lot more appealing. Because a chatbot, I mean, we've kind of had chatbots, right? Like we've seen chatbots and they're just annoying and whatever. It's cool, I guess. It's a novelty. But yeah, the moment that you start seeing their bankroll go up,
well, dude, for me, yeah, I mean that was huge. But also like Martin made me think about the account Ethernet as the interface. And that is like the single biggest unlock of the original Clanker product, was that like users were doing all of this stuff in the social feed with posting, no transactions. And like that remains to me, I think, of just a hugely significant part of everything that happened. And I really credit that to Martin, because like I didn't see it. Then Martin shipped Ethernet. I was kind of like thinking a lot of random shit. Ethernet, straight up.
Yeah, dude. So that was absolutely crazy. I think kind of very similar to like how I'd mentioned before, like Borrow Dutch, like just kind of like pinging people.
Oh, yeah.
Ethernet kind of also helped lift up your network, because what is an AI agent? It's something that could have this conversation with every single person on the network at the same time. That's fucking unreal.
Like unlike a lot of chatbots today, Ethernet had attention. Ethernet actually went viral. And I think people expect like their random chatbot to go viral, but you actually really need to do something interesting now to stand out. But at the time, Ethernet was super novel on Farcaster. I think there was like one other bot that I can think of, Ask Gina, but it felt more like a tool. So I don't think people could conceive of it as having upside, even though like Crack Team, definitely a project to watch. But Ethernet people saw upside very quickly, and it went viral.
Yeah. So that, and then there was a couple launch pads actually starting to come out. Like now people's kind of saw, they're like, oh, hey, you know, Farcaster's kind of becoming hot again. If we're going to be early, maybe this is the time. We saw a handful of launch pads, and just on that, like people had been iterating on a pump.fun clone since its inception on base, and none of them took off. Absolutely, like they maybe got like some like cabal push on a day, on like for a day or for like a week, but it just didn't have the staying power. And like frankly, like I don't know if it was like just user appetite, like where we were in the market or anything like that, but then comes along Clanker and offers a launching experience, but in the feed. I thought that was just the coolest shit, right? Because then, like, I swear to God, for like 2 weeks, I barely slept because I'm like, what if Dan clanks? Like, I have to be there.
Dude. I just want to tell very briefly from my perspective how Moon came to Clanker team. Clanker's, I think, lowest day of revenue was day 1, where we earned $16,000 from the volume we got. The next
day 1
month, the next 30 days were so insane. And you have to realize, like, Loom ran from 3,000 to 75 million. Clanker ran from $3,000 market cap to 140 million. Some crazy, like, it just happened really fast, and we were riding the wave, right? Like, Jack and I spent 5 days building this product. We were not ready for attention like that. We just simply weren't. We're doing our best. Somehow I got like introed to Moon during that period. I saw him posting about Clanker, and I really liked his posts. Good posting, such a signal for me. And then we were talking a bit, and I think he mentioned that he did some Dune stuff. And I had been actively looking for someone to track everything on Dune Analytics. And I forget the details, but basically M00NPAPI and this very mysterious Chinese man, Master Tian. Shout out Tian. I know you've kind of moved on from me, but I love you. And you'll be back. I think he's in like Chain launch mode. But Tian and Moon started cranking out Dune dashboards. And to this day, all of Clanker's Dune stuff, which like we have a bunch, were built by Moon and Tian, and they like told the Clanker story, I think, in the kind of definitive way. When we've taken VC calls, they all of them are tracking this by Dune, and they did an amazing job. They didn't ask for anything. I did, give them some tokens. But more, I just realized, like, oh, okay, like me and Jack, whatever, smart guys, we built some shit. Moon is very embedded in the culture. Tian, very embedded in like a different kind of crazy China version of the culture. And I wanted them, but like we weren't hiring. So I just kind of tried to like pull Moon into our orbit slowly by, telling him how much I loved him. And like eventually it kind of fell off. It kind of like we had a mini breakup, I would say, where Moon was always doing stuff for us, always helping, but like, he wasn't fully bought in. And I woke up one day, I saw that Moon had put time on my calendar, and we had a call, and it was great. And I just eventually on that call, I said to him, like, yo, we've kind of been dancing around this, but you should come do this with us. Like, there is a role here. I don't know what the role is. I think it's community, social, DevRel. There's so many things this man can do. And I knew that because he once made a really fire fan video on Twitter. I knew all of that the day he made that video, because I'm fucking crazy. But like literally, he just got my attention. I knew he was going to be good. So I told him that the next time we talked. He said, I'm in, baby. And now he's working with the team. He's in our Slack 7 days a week. The man shows up. And like, we're sending him to ETH Denver. He's going to like publicly represent us. I can't say enough about this man's talents.
Hell yeah, dude. Grateful for this opportunity. I think
no, you earned it,
really
dude.
Cool. Oh yeah,
you earned it. Like that's what I would say is like
sure.
Moon got a job at Clanker not because he applied to anything. He actually never did, but because he showed up and he solved problems for us. Straight up. Like, it's kind of what you did, Jack. Like, you showed up and made content that caught my attention. It was really good content, and you solved a problem for me, which was that, like, we have no marketing. All we do is post, and, like, content is really important. And a lot of teams have big budgets to make it. And I don't know. It's, like, very much the Clanker ecosystem vibe. And that's, like, I think how Moon and I just, like, connect, man. Like, that's, you know, and same with you and me. It's like, it's great.
Vibes, I think, go for it, Jack. Sorry.
Well, I just wanted to say, I think that there's a lesson in there, of course, which is like, it's something I feel like Jesse talks about a lot too. You kind of just, there's so many opportunities in the space right now by just putting in some work, like finding something that you think is cool and helping them. Like, help them in any way, because people remember that and they pay it back. To me, so far in this space, especially on like the Farcaster crowd, a lot of those builders, if you just like start helping people out, if you really, and you vibe with them and you like what they're doing, you believe in what they're doing, eventually, if you think that they can start taking off, most of the time, I would say that people reach their hand out and they're like, yeah, let's, you know, come help more. Like, this is, what else can we do? So I think there's a lesson to just like help. If you find something you like, dude, just go start doing stuff for it. Help them in any way you can, and you know, hopefully it does come back around, you know?
You know, and I think like that is such the lesson. And for me, it's like M00NPAPI is someone actually who has serious talents. He could do many different roles. He has technical skills. He has marketing skills. But actually, more important than all of that is Moon has spent like however many years in crypto, on CT, Discord, Telegram, Farcaster. He's done so while being active in the real world. He's not like a troll that only lives in his basement. And he likes people. He likes being around them and talking to them and communicating with them. And he gives a shit, so he's not like a scumbag. And to me, those are really valuable skills. This industry has a lot of, I don't know, washed up MBAs who know how to like speak the language of some, you know, tier C fund that like no one cares about, that's low signal when they buy. We have that shit. We need someone who isn't an MBA chud who like is just trying to extract a, you know, six-figure salary from some team that will never go anywhere. We need Moon, because Moon like knows crypto, he cares about it, and he's critical about it. He's not a Kool-Aid drinker. He's not like, we're all gonna make it. He's like, fuck you, bro, let's go harder, because my mom and sister who I love and care about need to, you know, be provided for. That's also huge for me. Moon loves his family. I don't trust a motherfucker who's like not caring about something.
No, bro. You gotta. That's why you wake up. That's why you wake up in the morning, dude. I think this space is super duper interesting. There's just that vibe, that ethos of you show up, you're curious, you try new things, you're willing to fuck around and find out. 9 out of 10 times you'll be rewarded. In crypto.
I mean, let's be clear. It's hard. I feel like we've all had some version of this that's like worked really well, that has been successful for us, but it's really hard, and I think we need to make it a lot easier for a random user with no followers or clout not to be successful, but to know what to do to be successful. Like, we need to give them the roadmap and the access points, and they can rise or to the occasion or not. Like, I'm not stressed about that, but I don't think people know how.
I definitely echo that sentiment. And I think it starts as just like as easy as like, I remember, getting a buddy to buy like a base coin.
Yeah.
And I forgot that I'd been in town for so long that I don't have to bridge nothing. I don't have to start from zero. I don't have to move dollars into ETH into a bridge or whatever. And I was like, oh shit. I like thought about then for a second what this guy has to do to get on the damn chain by himself.
Can you imagine?
And I'm like, what if I wasn't here?
Can you imagine onboarding straight up? Like, you don't have any crypto. I can't because I feel like I hate centralized exchanges, so I never want to touch them. I don't offboard. I have pulled out so little money. I only pull out enough to pay my most important bills.
Yeah.
Guys, we haven't talked about any of the hot things that have launched, but this has been fun.
At this point in the episode, Alex had to bail, but we continued talking and getting to know each other and learning more about M00NPAPI and how he got started at Clanker. When Alex jumped in and was telling us about his perspective and how you got on, which was awesome, and I love that you just were like, let me just start doing stuff. You were at in your story kind of like you felt the vibes, the wind shifting. Yeah, yes. You were back on Farcaster. You were telling people, hey, it's happening. Like let's talk about it a little bit. It was kind of silent at the time, but big time. When did you? Let's start back with let's say Ethernet around that time or higher.
Yeah. So Ethernet was like, it was like October or November of last year. Again, just right before this, I was playing so much League of Legends. It was disgusting. Yeah. I'm a jungle main. It was disgusting how much I was playing. And I think I'd gone to a music festival and I had, eaten a couple of mushrooms. Not just a couple, but yeah, I remember coming back home from that and I was gonna hop on my computer and play League of Legends, and I was like, I don't want to do that.
Nice.
I don't want to do that right now. And I just hopped on Farcaster. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck is this? This is Ethernet is on the damn, what is this? And my gut reaction was I was really mean to it, actually.
I was I'm gonna bully this fucking robot.
Dude, I was bullying the shit out of the robot, trying to get it to do things that it to shill coins and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to do. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I either got blocked or unfollowed by Martin, the creator of the bot, really early on because I'm being mean to his kid. Wow. You know?
That's funny. That's crazy.
Which is funny because then I tried to start talking to him about something after, which I thought was so that and then I started to realize I was oh shit, this is a real thing. This isn't just a pet project. This is pretty fucking cool. It's sharing stuff on its own. It's getting people to talk good and bad about it. Obviously there was some people that were yo, Ethernet's the coolest shit in the world, and then some other people that are talking shit to Zora and being yo, do you think it's ethical to get Ethernet to mint something with you, or whatever. They're just trying to be critical or whatever, and I'm just dude, shoot or shoot, bro. Come on, man. That's just what you're supposed to do, I feel. Why wouldn't you try to leverage that into getting it to use your product? So yeah, that a bunch of I was personally more excited about Farcaster again at that time, right? And then along comes Clanker. Again, a couple launch pads had launched. No one had figured out the right sauce when it came to a pump.fun style product when it came to base. And I think Clanker leveraged a couple things that I didn't know. I mean, I had an inkling, a feeling kind of at the time. But like, for example, right now, I ran a Dune dashboard for that Dan had sort of like not requested from me, but requested from Farcaster. I call it the hot ball of money. Dan calls it dry powder. And there's a couple different ways I guess you could define that. And like, just in his head, he's just like, what's the total amount of capital on Farcaster? Because potentially that could all move. But I kind of took it one step, like, kind of past that, like, and I counted up all the connected wallets on Solana and ETH, or Farcaster connected wallets. I counted up all L1 ETH and all base ETH. So I'm still missing like a bunch of stables and this and that or whatever. But my figure was something around like 80 something million ETH ready to fucking go. Right? Like, it's not in a coin. It's just ETH ready to be spent. Just, like, that's how I defined it. Right? And I think if I'm not mistaken, there's like something like 7 million SOL. And when I say this, it's US dollar amounts. So $80 million worth of ETH, that of SOL.
It's like ready to be deployed and shit.
Ready to
like
be
put
like
somewhere.
Deployed. Ready to be deployed. I think the total amount of capital to like either today or yesterday on Farcaster is about $300 million of ETH.
Really?
And about like maybe another like 50, about 50, maybe a little bit less of Solana.
That's wild.
Dude, Farcaster's fucking rich, dude. Farcaster's fucking rich. That's why it's such an attractive story. Like, and like, especially now that these guys,
get on Farcaster.
Dude, now that these guys are gonna fucking tear the roof off of this shit, like maybe that number was a little bit less before the Clanker run, right? But still,
Clanker,
like, you have a lot of builders here. You do have a lot of capital, so I think it's an interesting corner of base that's happening on Farcaster, and like, people will be willing to try your shit out. They'll be willing to mint stuff or whatever. You have Dan telling you the release schedule for rewards, saying, hey, if you're gonna drop an app, you should do so on Tuesdays at like 11 a.m. Pacific, because that's when everyone's gonna have the rewards and probably have free internet money.
Yeah.
And he's like giving you like sauce on, like, he's like, yeah, that's probably like anywhere from like a $10,000 to $50,000 revenue idea right there. And that's the fucking guy that made it, right? So sorry, moving back to Clanker, you had a lot of people kind of using the product. Some kind of folks were like doing it randomly. Big people started to use it. You then had to like see, like, you're like, oh fuck, is Dan gonna clank? Like, is V gonna clank? Is Horf's facts? And so on and so forth. The thing I think that kicked it off for me though was Ethernet was the hottest thing. Mm-hmm. Clanker's coming up, and Ethernet finds out about Clanker and clanks. It drops Loom. It then dropped like 4 more coins right after that, and then Martin hit up the guys and was like, yo, no more clanking for Ethernet. But yeah, that run-up was fucking insane, dude.
I didn't realize he had to like contact him and just say like, hey, cut him off.
Yeah, well, it's
homie's
just
about to go wild here. You know, he's
yeah, exactly. Because once someone sees that and they see Loom runs, then everybody on the network could potentially clank with Ethernet with Clanker, like, egg it on to do it or whatever. So you had all sorts of like really fucking crazy narratives like popping up. People were bidding the fucking test tokens that Jack was putting out. Like, there was just like a frenzy, and like then all of a sudden, like, Loom, which was like started off at like $30, was worth like 2,400, or fucking Clanker, which was under $1, was at fucking like $100. What the fuck?
Yeah, that was wild.
You have Anon, which had its whole drama. All this to say, Farcaster was exciting again. Right? It was super duper fucking hot. And right around this time, like, I was also like working on Dune stuff just my own, like to kind of get a lay of the land. But like also like I'm just shit posting, and I hit up fucking Proxy, and I'm like, yo, let me be the intern. Like we've had a bunch of successful interns on Farcaster and Twitter, like Goldie Talks or the Poly Market intern, and before that, you know, like you had like fucking like Wendy's or McDonald's social media interns on X. So I was like, I thought the intern meta was just very funny, and it was immediate. Like Proxy was like, yeah, you're hired. Make the account. Like you are Clanker's intern. Like go for it. And so I thought, at least my theme, like with that character at the time, was I thought it was interesting, like the idea of like a human working for an AI agent. So I mean, like that's just like kind of like I had just thought that funny, in general. So yeah, and that's what I was. I was just like out there trying to get people to know about it if they had any issues or anything like that. Just let them know what I knew. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, you getting hooked up with the client. So what is your official role right now? I mean, you're kind of, it sounds like you're a rover. You know, you're kind of do a little bit of everything. But what would you consider yourself?
We would say special teams.
Yeah.
Special plays. Special players. We're on special teams, dude. We're on special teams.
I like it.
We diagnose. We triage, we diagnose, and we attack in many different forms. Whether today that's hopping on this call with you, to a few hours from now hopping on a design call with Flood, so I can figure out how I'm gonna make some ETH Denver merch. You know, I got a swag call in a little bit. To shit posting on X, to my own personal shit posting on Farcaster, to managing random Telegram stuff. If we have Dune questions, sure. If product ideas pop in my head, I'm throwing them like in the Slack. If Jack's posting feedback about something new that he's testing, I'm giving feedback. Really just, I'm offering myself up in any way that I can. I'm hired as M00NPAPI, which I think is like just the coolest shit. Like these guys like me for who I am, and they're like, we want more of that, you know. And like I've had some opportunities to like work with different folks in the space, whether they be like huge companies and stuff like that. And one of my biggest fears was like, is my acceptance of the bag, does that mean I have to diminish myself? Am I gonna still be able to talk shit the way I want to talk shit? And as a yapper, and just I consider myself to be like I'm a strong flavor, I guess, of personality. I can be a lot for sure, but as just someone who's like that, like that was a genuine concern of mine, that I was like, fuck, dude, I might have to kind of, you know, defang myself, declaw myself a little bit or whatever. So that's like another reason, like why I thought it was so important to like just like I just saw like the opportunity with Clanker. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna get to shit post and like make money with my homies. Like fuck, you can't beat that. You cannot beat that.
Dude, just think about, like, let alone Clanker, but just the space in general. The fact that, like, the opportunity is there to actually be yourself and get paid to be yourself. Like you don't get that in meat space. You don't get that in a lot of, you know, unless you become, I don't know, like you, even as like an influencer, you're held, like you're responsible for the brands that you take all this, you know, money from or whatever, the ads that you're putting out. Only here and only in small opportunities like this that you have to take advantage of when you get them, like you right now with Clanker, that you can just straight up be who you are, and you're hired to be who you are. Like you've had your entire life, you've been practicing for this moment because they want you, not something else. Yeah. They want you. That's awesome, dude.
No, dude.
Congrats. Very much congrats.
Hey, thank you, man. It feels, honestly, dude, it feels like some Slumdog Millionaire shit. Like, just based on my life experiences and stuff like that, it's just every direction is just, I can do what I feel, which is just like whoa.
I heard something today that like half of like if do you want to be successful in you know whatever you want to do, it's like something that is like leaving people. It's like you know, have energy and act on your gut. Like that's it. Like if you do those two things, most likely like intuition is dying and everybody is too calculated. Sometimes you just have to act like if you have that, if you have the capability to just act on your gut and do it with energy and do it with gusto and do it with positivity, there's a lot of, you know, you can open a lot of doors by just like, I'm just doing this thing. I'm going to go for it. And I think that's pretty cool. And that's kind of how, you know, you just said, hey, I want to do this thing. And they were like, yep, do it. Let's go. Let's get started.
It's the most natural instinct that we have.
Yeah.
Like one of the first voices you hear like internally, is your gut. You know, and like you hear it like throughout the course of your life or whatever. Maybe it's been wrong sometimes, maybe it's been super right sometimes, or maybe I think like the biggest one is like when you feel something in your gut and you go against it, and then you like kind of come to yourself later, you're like, fuck dude, I should have trusted my gut. I think that personally is like one of the biggest offenses to like the universe or who you are or whatever you believe in or anything like that.
Our final segment of this episode is me asking him a few questions about him as a person, things he liked, things he was interested in. So we close out the episode with a couple quick facts about M00NPAPI and discussing things like video games and swag. Okay, it's Friday night. You're about to go out with the boys or the gals. Where would you go? What would you do? What's the perfect pre-Friday night or Saturday night spot?
So I have two big like things that come to mind, right? Like so either like regular like bar food or like Mexican, right? If I'm going the Mexican route, maybe a couple tacos, maybe a burrito and a michelada, which is like kind of like a Bloody Mary, except that instead of vodka, it's beer and a tajin rim. Either that or like bar food, like a burger, fries, and a beer. Nice. And nothing, no crazy IPAs or anything like that.
Yeah,
just an ice cold drinkable beer.
I like that. Keeping it simple.
It's something that I'm. Exactly.
You're like a PBR in a shot type cat then?
Oh yeah, big time. Probably it would be like Modelo.
Nice.
Sorry. Probably be like Modelo and like a shot of tequila. I don't really have a big preference, or like Modelo and like a shot of mezcal. Yeah. I think that's the easiest way to go. And then not just that, like, you know, growing up in Miami, it's a social place. I have a bunch of friends that are like working in hospitality and things like that. When you tell the bartender that you want a shot and a beer and they've just made like 18 espresso martinis, they're like, thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Those are the best people right there. Shot and a beer people. Yeah. You know, they understand. Yeah. They get it.
They'll take a shot with you a lot of the time and stuff like that. They're like, fuck, I need that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how we're pre-gaming. I think eating before you go out is definitely a major key.
Mm-hmm. It is. Okay. So let's go here then. Sunday scaries are in, right? We had a great night. Saturday was a ball. You know, it was a movie. But now we're having a rough Sunday. Where do you go? Where's the comfort Sunday grub? And what do you do on the Sunday scaries?
Okay, easy. Sunday scaries. I probably have terrible anxiety. There's probably 15 things I need to do, and I don't have the mental to start them. I wake up, I'm drinking some water, I'm probably smoking a doobie, and then I'm heading to my favorite restaurant. I post this shit like all the time. I call it church. I say nice. Church on Sundays. It's my favorite dumpling restaurant.
Let's go.
They're very they're pretty authentic. Their American Chinese food kind of sucks, but their like authentic Chinese food is like absolutely wonderful. I get soup dumplings. I get a single serving of Sichuan hot pot with like cabbage, it's like a beef fat soup in a way. Got a lot of salt in it. Sweet potatoes, noodles in there, bunch of veggies, meat, tofu, a lot of hearty stuff. And then either fried or steamed dumplings, depending on how I'm feeling, and a Coke and a Coca-Cola.
Nice.
I think that combination on the drive home, I'm back in business after that.
You're feeling good then? Nice. All right. So let's say if you're down or you're out, what's a go-to binge show or binge film? What's something you've seen a ton, you're always down to watch it?
Sure. Movie that I'll pick up pretty much anytime. I guess I had different eras, but it's a Guy Ritchie film called Rock and Rolla. Wow. That I absolutely loved. The soundtrack was cool as shit. I thought all the characters were cool as shit. English accents, just like, they bring a level of credibility to anything. So I think it's just like cool to watch. But yeah, I'll pick up that movie pretty much anytime. Actually, frankly, like all the Guy Ritchie movies are pretty fucking awesome. But yeah, Rock and Roll is one that sticks out to me.
That's one that I would not have picked as a Guy Ritchie. Like when you said a Guy Ritchie film, I was like, oh yeah, he's going Snatch or he's going Lock, Stock. I wouldn't have picked Rock and Rolla. That's one of the ones I've actually seen the least, probably. Maybe I need to check that one out a little bit more, dude. I'd love some Guy Ritchie films. Okay, that's a cool one. I like that pick. Good, nice pick, bud. What's your favorite cash fit, and then what's your favorite going out? Let's say a concert.
All right, so cash fit, probably what I'm wearing like right now. Like I rock sweatpants all the time.
All right.
You said I'm a bigger boy myself. So sometimes hard to find jeans and stuff like that. They're super fucking comfortable, frankly. Yeah. So sweatpants, I think, just like for a casual fit, that's the bee's knees. It's actually really funny. I'm close to my sister, but my sister will see me in sweatpants like throughout like multiple days, and she'll be like, "Hey, dude, like those fucking sweatpants are gonna stand up." And like on their own, like type of shit. Then, which is kind of like translated from Spanish, but yeah. Going out, I'll do it a couple different ways. Like early on, when I was home and I had when I was living back in my mom's, I wasn't paying rent or anything like that, and I had a decent job. I had a lot of disposable income, so I was a hype beast. I was buying all sorts of fun shoes, stuff that only dropped in fucking like China, or like coveted items or whatever. I definitely caught like that sneaker bug. So a cool pair of Nikes, a button-up shirt, maybe. I got these two really cool Dragon Ball Z button-up shirts, like 2006 style shirts.
Let's go. Hot Topic versions, like way back in the day.
Exactly.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. Like Vegeta, like with his hand out. Like,
that is a cool throwback right there.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I'm super into vintage clothes.
Lots of colors, or yeah.
Lots of. I do like color. I was thinking the other day, I wore all black because all the Farcaster. All the Farcon swag that I'd gotten was all black, and I realized that I only have one pair of black shoes that's not like dress shoes, and I'm like, oh man, wow, I kind of stick away. I am kind of a colorful individual. I'm also kind of like contrarian in a sense too, so I like looking cool. But I don't think that that's something necessarily that you need to pay for. Like, there's so many people that you'll see go out and they'll be like from head to toe, like off-white, or like all Balenciaga with the man satchel, or, which I think this is even worse, like Balenciaga, Off-White, Supreme, Prada belts, Gucci slippers. It's like, oh, dude, oh man, you don't need to. That's crazy, because at that point it's just like a statement. I mean, all fashion, frankly, is a statement.
Yes.
But that statement is like, hey, look at me. I'm a walking billboard, which I just don't love.
I would have to say that statement is, I actually have no style and I'm just trying to, like I shop at Walmart, like that's fine. I don't care if the thing's cool, I'm going to get the thing that's cool. I like vintage clothes as well. But like, it's just like buying designer to buy designer is, to me, there is cool designer stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Dude, I have a great pair of Oakley glasses. I love them. Or something like that. Or you do some of the fucking chunky Balenciaga shoes. They look pretty cool and stuff like. I mean, I think they look a little bit cooler. I've seen like some of the women's shoes that I've seen are a little bit cooler in that sense. But still, like chunky Balenciagas, that's cool. I like that. A Louis bag, that's fine. Like all these things on their own
are great,
are chilling, right? And if you just have them, cool. Fuck yeah, dude. Treat yourself. Rock that shit. There's no cooler thing than to treat yourself, right? Or to ball out. But like, when it becomes kind of more this trying to signal to other people, which is a big thing in Miami. It's about looking large and stuff like that. And sometimes looking larger than you are, even if you're saddled with credit card debt, you're still rocking 5 different designer items. Or at least some people think that they need to do that, just to keep up with the Joneses.
A very peacocky area, huh? Like
very much.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say all right, you're going to a concert, you're rocking that Dragon Ball Z fit or something. You're feeling good about yourself. What show would you be looking forward to? Like if it's any show, what's the show that you're like, "Oh, dude, this show's going to be so hype. What am I going to?"
Okay, so I guess most recently the show. So there's 2 things. One, Miami's a very techno city, right? So there's a lot of rave or club concerts, if you can call them that. I would say maybe show. But the last cool concert that I saw out here actually was King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Let's go.
Those guys blew my fucking mind. They're just crunchy as shit. They're bringing in dude, yes, exactly. And then they have insane visuals. They got like an 18-piece band. It feels like there's like 30 fucking people up there. They're all singing. They all get their own turns to sing. All the songs are so different. Then like the one guy comes up, he's like, like doing the fucking throat sing and shit. Like, bro, dude, what a show. That shit blew my socks off. What I will say is that Miami definitely doesn't have all the live shows in the world. Yeah. Mostly partly because of the culture, but mostly because of geographical location. Yeah. Like if you're on a tour,
it makes no sense.
And you're not flying to every location.
Yeah.
The deepest you can go is like maybe Tallahassee, Gainesville, Jacksonville, or whatever. Fucking this top of the state to Miami is like 9 hours.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
Makes no sense to tour down it.
Anywhere else in the country, you've driven over like 4 or 5 states. So people either start or end their tours in Miami. Then they fly to like their wherever their stuff is, maybe like Atlanta, like a more central location to kind of start their tours or whatever. But yeah, Miami's just really not on the list. So it's cool when people do make it down here. But yeah, dude. Those guys rocked my socks off. I can't wait to see them again. They made a fan out of me.
So stoked that you saw them. Like that's your taste is immaculate so far. What about okay? How about that? I see that you DJ a little bit. Like you do a little. So when'd you get into that? Like, what's your? Tell me about that. Tell me a little bit because I'm not very hip to DJs. It's just not. It's something I missed. I'm way more like into.
I think it's partly because of what's hot and what's cool in Miami. Miami's just always been an interesting scene for music in general. Miami bass music is so popular. When I Hear Music by Debbie Deb is sampled by Kendrick now on one of his biggest songs. But before that, like, just again, Miami bass music is like really cool. So all of our parents, I was born in the 90s, but all of our parents were living and growing up in Miami in like the 70s, in the 80s in some cases. And again, that was like a fun party time. Like everything was like fairly cheap down here. And the parties were just fucking cool. Everybody was cool. But like then it's like another thing of like, all right, like, so what makes a party cool? What's the vibe? Like, what's playing? What sort of music is playing? And you have a lot of people out here that get their brains wired to be like, oh, I gotta find the next coolest track. I gotta go digging. I gotta, and like, people were kind of remixing like their own tapes and like all sorts of shit, making their own mixes of Miami bass music and stuff like that. And so, my dad growing up was always like listening to like the newest trends or anything like that. Like I think I had I think it was like the Eminem show or like Get Rich or Die Trying. Like when those albums dropped, my dad was in his fucking Mercedes just fucking like banging that shit loud as fuck and like would sing along the whole fucking way through. And like it was just like cool. So growing up, like I kind of had that. I personally got into like electronic music and stuff like that. I was really into that sort of thing. Ultra is like a really big thing out here, Ultra Music Festival, where like all the best, like you don't even have to look at the lineup. It's like Bonnaroo or some shit. Like
you just go.
It's just fucking dope. Everyone cool that you know and is a thing is gonna be there. And like that was like the hot thing. If you can like somehow sneak in or whatever when you were in high school, like that was just like cool, right? So definitely a lot of looking up to DJs. And then I think it was like my 15th or my 16th birthday that I had gotten a decent bit of money. I've been a musician all my life. I played bass guitar. I was in Band Magnet in middle school. I played the saxophone and I played the bass in jazz band. I stuck with the bass. The saxophone was just an expensive instrument. Yeah. Yeah, so like around my 15th, 16th birthday, like I just started looking on Craigslist to see like who has like a DJ setup or whatever. And for $800, I bought a Behringer 4400, I think, something mixer and 2 Technique MK1210 turntables.
Technique
for $800.
That's crazy. Dude, what a deal,
dude. Right. So I spent then like another like $100 on like cartridges. And the setup that I went for was all the music that I loved wasn't necessarily on vinyl. Yeah. Some of it was just rips and like stuff like that, and I didn't have the capital to be like really doing that. So I would just like I'd set that up on my desk at home, and I just like practiced all the time, and I'd like bought like little goodies and like things like that. I was like making my own shitty music at the time, which if you find my YouTube, you can probably find my shitty music that I made when I was like 16. None of it really went anywhere, but I was very well versed in FL Studios. I had Ableton Live, just trying to create really at the time. And the turntables actually turned out to be, I practiced, but once I left for college, it just became like this chore because they're like, it's a big fucking coffin. I was driving a tiny car at the time. It was a pain in the ass to move it to places, like, and I just really wasn't, it's just not where my head was at, not what I was focused on or anything like that. But I have always been interested in DJing. Like I would buy like smaller controllers that I can like take around to friends' houses and things like that. I was always interested in like curating or like playlists and stuff like that or whatever. And then fast forward to fucking this cycle. I guess maybe before that, I got into streaming during COVID. when I was home for a year, I mean, actually like right before COVID, I would like stream myself gaming. So I got like pretty well versed with like Streamlabs or OBS Studio. I was interviewing people for like just personal friends and family reasons. Like NFTs were kind of going in 2021. I was able to talk to one of my friends who she's like just a badass in this space. I was able to talk to one of the guys from ENS. So I got into that, and then again, sorry, fast forward to now, or like this past winter, where I bought the fucking DJ set of my dreams. Like I spent a funny amount of money to buy basically like a club standard DJ setup, so I can like when I practice, it's like professional and stuff like that. I got.
What'd you get?
Yeah, it's two Pioneer CDJ 3000s and a DJM A9.
So okay, that's sick. So now you're streaming, and you're interviewing people, and so that kind of like what moved you towards content for a little while. Is that like, are you?
Yeah, I mean, like I always enjoyed creating content and stuff like that. I think it's fun to be a weirdo on the internet. But like, I guess maybe like more now, like I just kind of like, I want to practice, but also like the cool thing is I'm practicing and some people are like coming up across that and they're like, yo, what the fuck is this? This is like kind of crazy. Like, what the hell, dude? Like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
So like that's like such an incredible response like to get. It gets me excited, frankly. And for me, I'm just like, what do you mean, dude? I'm not doing anything. I'm not even creating the visuals or anything. Like, I just know I'm curating a couple different things in my life. Like, I've seen a lot of media and I've taken a lot of psychedelics and little things like that. So maybe I'm making some fun connections, but like, I personally don't think that I'm really pushing any envelopes or anything like that. I think I'm pretty vanilla when it comes to what other people are doing. But I think that's just also a statement on how we view ourselves versus like where we're going. I think it's important. Like yeah, what if I do change or whatever when I do become like the thing that I'm coveting or whatever. Like the journey sometimes is more important than the destination, I think, when it comes to those sorts of things, like your creative journey, rather than being like having like 5 million followers or anything like that or whatever. But yeah, I make it kind of a point to at least each week put out like 1 or 2 DJ sets. Yeah, just to kind of have out there. And like the cool thing is like I'll sometimes I'll feel kind of whatever about it in the moment. I'll be like, I fucked up there. I did this wrong. That sounded like shit or whatever. But then I'll pop it on in the car and I'm like, wow, if I wasn't, because I'm not there, because it's like I'm hearing it happen rather than being a part of it happening, I barely even notice. I know because I fucked up at that point personally, but no one would ever tell. So it's just like, again, another statement on like how critical we are of ourselves and like things like that or whatever is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up with 2 more questions. Like, okay, let's go. These are going to be kind of fast, but if you had your top 5 favorite games.
Top 5 favorite games. Okay, that is World of Warcraft #1.
Wow. Okay. What are you then? And WoW.
Sure.
What's your class?
My first class was a hunter named Gary Coleman with 2 N's. My second character and the class that I ended up loving was warrior. I had many different warriors across the years. His name was Rambo, and I made like a couple different alts. Like for example, in this and then in this iteration of Classic, I'm playing a rogue, which I don't normally do. I've done it a million times. I played on a bunch of private servers. I've gone back pretty much every expansion for at least a month, always throughout my entire life since 2006. It's just the fucking bee's knees, dude. I fucking love that game. It speaks to me. I have vivid memories inside the game, like third party perspective. Like I'm just like sitting in front of a 2D screen.
Yeah. I
have vivid memories of being inside the world.
Yeah.
Of Warcraft.
That's awesome.
So that's one. Two, I would probably say Guild Wars 1. I played that instead of RuneScape, and that kind of set me up to play WoW. Besides that, I would say Kingdom Hearts 1 for the PlayStation 2.
Nice.
That game was like super duper formative. Let's think. Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance, I thought was a great fucking game. And then probably like the Pokemon games. Those are games that I played that I'll still fire up like today. Like if I see a new expansion and it's not like too kiddie, I'll definitely buy that shit and I'll probably play it for like a month or whatever. So yeah, those are my 5.
Okay, sick. All right. Then here, this will lead into the last one then, since it ended on a Pokemon. What are the 5 Pokemon you would take into battle?
Whoa. Okay. All right. I like Gengar. Gengar's 1. I need a psychic type. I like Espeon a lot.
Nice.
A good electric type. Electabuzz. I'm kind of going very Gen 1 here.
Yeah, that's okay, dude. To be honest, those are the best. In my opinion.
A poison type, maybe like Muck. So that's 4, right? Mm-hmm. And then 5, I need a good either water or fire type. Who am I using? Oh, Dugong. I like Dugong a lot.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Water, ice type.
Then one to hang out with. Not battling, just the homie.
Dude, damn. Okay, this will be Gen 3, but Kecleon.
Yeah, that is the homie, dude. Just have him hang out on the shoulder. Just chill.
It's the homie, dude.
Just be the bro. Dude, that's the bro. Hell yeah, dude. All right. I want to say, first of all, this was a long conversation. I really appreciate all your time that you spent, of course. But I really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit more, and I think I love talking about, just understanding your vibe better, and you're an awesome creator. I've recently found you, and I've just liked everything you've posted since then. It's just been great. And so I'm enjoying following, and I hope that we will do more stuff together in the future, especially. So thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, man. I appreciate your time. This is how we win together.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Must Clank. It was a long one. It was different, but I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, you can collect this episode. You can get rewarded for collecting this episode on Pods. You can always support Zero Rights Media by liking, subscribing. Right there. We're right there. All right. Have a good one. I'll talk to you next time.